In a quiet, sleepy neighborhood, 7-year-old Timmy was the kind of kid you wouldn't notice in a crowd. Small for his age, with a mop of brown hair that seemed perpetually tangled, Timmy spent his days wandering between boredom and imagination. That all changed the day he found the red balloon. It was tangled in the branches of an old oak tree at the edge of the park, its glossy surface reflecting the weak afternoon sun. Timmy wasn't sure what drew him to it. Maybe the way it gleamed, maybe the fact that it looked so out of place in the drab winter landscape. He climbed up the trunk, grabbed the string, and yanked it free. "Hello, Timmy," a voice whispered as the balloon bobbed gently in the air. Timmy froze, looking around. No one was there, just the balloon swaying in the breeze, as if nodding at him. "Did you just talk?" Timmy asked, feeling silly. "Of course," the voice replied. It was high-pitched but smooth, almost cheerful. "I've been waiting for you." Timmy's eyes widened. He looked at the balloon, then at its reflection in the puddle beneath the tree. For a split second, he thought he saw something. A face, jagged and toothy, grinning back at him. But when he blinked, it was gone. "I'm your new best friend," the balloon said. "Call me Red." Red wasn't like any imaginary friend Timmy had heard of. For one, Red was funny, in a dark sort of way. When Timmy accidentally dropped a glass of milk, Red giggled and said, "Wouldn't it be fun to see what else we could break?" When Timmy was supposed to do his homework, Red teased, "Homework's for suckers. Let's draw on the walls instead." Timmy's mum started noticing the change. He was once quiet and obedient, but now he was sneaky and defiant. The walls of his room were scribbled with marker. His toys were often scattered across the hallway, and he laughed to himself when he thought no one was looking. "What's gotten into you?" his mom scolded one evening. "You're acting like a wild child." Timmy didn't answer. He glanced at the mirror in the hallway where Red's reflection floated behind him, distorted and monstrous. The balloon's grinning mouth moved silently, urging him to argue back. "It's not fair," Timmy shouted. "You're always blaming me." Red laughed silently, its reflection growing sharper as Timmy's anger swelled. Timmy started noticing something else about Red. The balloon wasn't just mischievous, it was mean. It whispered cruel things about his neighbors, his friends, even his parents. "Mrs. Hargrove's garden gnomes would look better smashed," Red suggested one morning. "They like your sister better than you," Red whispered another time, its voice dripping with venom. Red's ideas only became more frequent, suggesting Timmy play a prank on his dad. "Hide the car keys," Red urged. "It'll be hilarious." When Timmy's dad missed an important meeting because of the missing keys, the house was filled with yelling. Timmy tried to explain that it wasn't his idea, but who would believe a story about an evil talking balloon? As the weeks passed, Timmy began to see Red for what it truly was. The balloon wasn't his friend, it was a monster, feeding off his mistakes and growing stronger with every act of disobedience. Each time he looked in a mirror, Red's reflection was more vivid, more terrifying. It wasn't just a balloon anymore. It was a presence, a shadow that loomed over his life. Timmy knew he had to find a way to stop it, but Red wasn't going to let him go so easily. The turning point came when Red suggested something truly horrifying. One stormy night, Timmy sat by the fireplace, watching the flames flicker, his mother standing with her back to him, staring off into the flames, as adults often do, thinking about the stresses of life. Red hovered beside him, its reflection in the glass doors of the fireplace glowing with a sinister light. "Do you know what fire does to people?" Red asked. its voice dripping with malice. "I bet it would be funny to push her in there." Timmy's hands trembled as he stared at the flames. For the first time, he felt real fear, not just of the balloon, but of himself. Was he really going to do this? Red's voice grew louder, more insistent. "Do it, Timmy. She deserves it for yelling at you." But Timmy couldn't go through with it. He instead ran upstairs, locking himself in his room. Red floated outside the door, silent and menacing. One day, Timmy decided he'd had enough. He took Red to the upstairs bathroom, the one with the biggest mirror in the house. Holding the string tightly, he stared at Red's reflection. "What are you?" Timmy asked, his voice trembling. Red's reflection didn't match its real self. In the glass, the balloon had a gnarled, hideous face. Its mouth was wide, filled with needle-sharp teeth, and its eyes were two deep black voids that seemed to pull Timmy in. "I'm your friend, Timmy," Red replied, but his voice was different now, deeper, colder. The reflection's mouth moved in sync with the words. "Don't you want to have fun?" Timmy shook his head. "You're not my friend. You're bad." The balloon cackled, its laughter bouncing off the tiles. "Bad? I've given you freedom. I've shown you how to have real fun. Without me, you're just a boring little boy with no friends." Timmy's hands tightened around the string. "You're lying. You just want me to get in trouble." The reflection leaned closer, its jagged grin stretching wider. "Trouble is fun, Timmy. You'll see." Terrified but determined, Timmy ran out of the bathroom and down the stairs, the balloon trailing behind him. He flung open the front door and bolted into the yard. "Where are we going, Timmy?" Red asked, its voice dripping with mockery. "You can't get rid of me." Timmy didn't answer. He ran to the edge of the park, where the old oak tree still stood. He climbed up the trunk, the same way he had when he first found Red, and tied the string to the highest branch he could reach. "You can't leave me here," Red shrieked, his voice no longer cheerful. It sounded furious, desperate. "You need me, Timmy." "No," Timmy said, climbing back down. "I don't." As he stepped away, he turned back for one last look. The balloon writhed against its string, and in the reflection of a nearby puddle, Timmy saw its monstrous face one last time. Its eyes burned with rage, and its mouth opened in a silent scream. Timmy walked away without looking back. For days, Timmy avoided the park. He tried not to think about Red, but sometimes, at night, he swore he could hear its voice faintly calling his name. Weeks later, when he finally mustered the courage to check, the balloon was gone. The branch where he had tied it was bare, and the puddle beneath the tree reflected nothing but the sky above. Timmy never saw Red again, but sometimes, when he walked past a mirror, he thought he caught a glimpse of something, just for a moment, hovering in the background. He never stopped to look closer.